Oh, I was going to start with the countdown timer like I usually do. But I guess I just went live straight up into my main scene. So, woo-wee. All right, I'm back. I feel like such a fool when I say the hooey thing, but I can't resist either. So this shame and lack of shame all together. Last time I was here, we completed um, adding completion, and there were a few things there that I wasn't quite happy with, and I'll demo them here now. One of them, I mean, the main one being when I go into this command line in Noise and I type in something like lazy, the autocomplete pop-up menu shows up. But when I press tab, it doesn't complete here. I would have expected the Y to show up here. If I press tab again, for example, I'm on this option, I expect lazy path to show up here. It doesn't. Unless I press another character. So if I press A here, it says lazy path A. If I press tab here, I press space, then it shows up. If I'm here and I press tab enter, it does load lazy, but it just doesn't complete. I tried a series of things to try and make this work. I deleted all the plugins from my config file and left it only with Noise and with Neovim comp. And I tried various Git commits of each plugin library, and I was not able to get it to work. One thing I noticed I didn't do now that I realize this, so I tried it even up to like 2 years ago with the Noise plugin and 2 years ago with the Neovim plugin, but I did not try 2 years ago with both plugins. So I might do that later. But while I was doing that, I noticed a couple of things. One, look at this. Look at this icon, which is kind of huge and mildly hideous, I might say. I don't like it. Others might like it. I don't like it. And then I also noticed before where there's certain cases where I don't have certain icons working properly. I see most of the icons are working properly here, but there's certain cases where they're not working properly. And I ended up realizing that my config here in iterm was using a font that was different than perhaps the one I had wanted to use. And so now when I switch to Meslo LGS Nerd Font Mono, which it was already selected here, but I'm switching to it again, I guess. Let me double check by quitting here, re-entering the file. This was working for me earlier. I'm a little bit disappointed that it's not working for me now. Let me try again, actually, just in case. It might not still work, and if it doesn't work, we'll ignore everything I said. Everything I said was a lie. Did the font even change here? Do I have to like open a new terminal for the font to apply? So the font did change here. I can feel it. Config/nvim init.lua. The font did change. Ah, look at that. No more huge icon. So I noticed the Nerd font that I was using before did not have all the icons. And this one, you can see here that all the icons are being displayed. Before the toml icon was not being displayed, and the gemfile.lock icon was not being displayed. And so now I went to NerdFont and made sure to get like the latest nerd fonts. So super important for experience to be nice to make sure that you're on the latest nerd fonts. So that's one thing that I had come across. Another thing I came across was this. Earlier in my telescope setup, I was using this command here, which is vim.fn.input. So let me actually go to the actual one, which is here, and I'll copy it back to demo what was happening. This is the one. And I'll comment this out. Exit, come back in. So now when I press /, which is search across the project, across files, and I type in something like lazy, there's no autocomplete here. And I, for the life of me, did not know how to get the autocomplete in there. And in order to make that work, I ended up doing this, where I'm actually doing a command search, so :search. And now I have my autocomplete because I configured my autocomplete to work on the command line broadly, to look at the buffer, to look at RG. And so now I get completion while I'm searching in files. So if I complete this, this is the search. Oops, these are the search results that have lazy in them. But I discovered that we are able to configure completion to work within vim.fn.input. So let me see if I can't get that working, because I wouldn't mind just keeping it this way instead of having to create another user command to accommodate for search. So, and then obviously if I have it working here in this input, it'll work in all inputs everywhere. So the way I'd come across it is this. I was trying to actually look for a fix for that completion not working issue. I came to the list of sources for no reason in particular, and just started saying, okay, look, let's see what's up here. Let's see if I can't find something that makes sense. And then happened to find this. So unrelated to that actual completion functioning, command line input prompt. I was like, hey, input. Huh. Click through. So this provides a source for Vim's command line input prompt. I don't know what it uses as the source. I'm not sure. It's unclear to me what the source being used is, but I noticed that it uses the @ symbol here, to attach itself and set itself up. So I said, hey, I was not aware of this before. This repo itself is 7 months old. I have not looked at this for longer than that period of time. So I wasn't sure whether this was a new feature in kind of the baseline NVim comp. So maybe it is. So I said, okay, let's give this a shot. And note that I'm not adding the prompt source. Because initially, I guess I don't really care about that source in particular. I care about these sources. So let's paste that here. Let's do that. Let's copy everything inside here and paste it here. So now we have this kind of a setup. I don't actually need command line here because I'm not searching for command line commands. Path is fine. I might search for path-based things there. Tags, all buffers, and RG. For sure I want that. So let's save that. Let's get back in. Let's just make sure our vim.fn.input is still good. It is. So now when I do a / for project-based search, I type in LAZ. In my input, I have my buffers. I have RG getting me that completion working. So include, for example, current session. There it is. And now here are the results for include current session in the project. So actually pretty happy with that because it means that it just works. Once I configure it just in Neovim comp, I don't have to go back and modify my telescope setup, which is my preferred way of doing this. So this goes away. Which means here, it's actually not clear to me if anything actually changed here. Let's actually make sure. If I do this, oh yeah, look how big that is. Let me quit and come back in. Yeah, so those changes only applied when I opened a new terminal. Interesting. And I was avoiding opening the new terminal here in my markdown file because I'd lose all these Vim features. But now that I have LSP set up, I have completion set up, most of the features I want are there now, so I can safely quit and come back. And now I'm on my new setup here instead of that erroneous or error-filled setup I had before. All right, so let's take a look at vim.fn.input. And here's where I'm saying, hey, we got to go back. And to search, you can type in partial command and complete with tab within the same search. Because we have autocomplete on the command line now, we can go back and modify telescope search settings. This way, we can get autocomplete search while we search. My favorite search feature as a result of these changes is getting autocomplete search while we search. This works for search within file and also for search within project. And then we don't have to make these changes at all. What we do have to do is make that additional change for the @ symbol, which is here. So this code we have to bring in, which we'll do here. So that setup is here, that setup is here, and right below here. I'm asking people to just copy paste this anyway, wholesale. So it's not that big of a deal to add another few lines. Ultimately, I suppose what I could do is also refactor this out and then pass this in this table into both of these settings. We'll see if that's necessary, but for now, I think the duplication. Oh no, we can't because command line. So I'm okay with the duplication either way. And I'm happy that I was able to eliminate one step where I don't have to ask someone to go back and edit things, which is nice. Okay, so let's go back down to where we were and continue from there, which is Guten tags. And since we're auto-completing on tags, so we have tags set up here, let's add a plugin to parse the tags. I don't really describe tags here, which I think I can go into a bit more detail to describe what tags are and how they work. Maybe, is there any other place where I mention tags? Like in a serious way? No, there isn't. So definitely, I need a to-do for myself here. You know, just add another to-do just in the macro section. Maybe to-do section. Cover tags in detail. So here we're adding a GUID and tags plugin, and let's see if anything has changed here. What this does is, as you're opening files and closing them, it will process those files in tags, in GUID and tags or C tags, universal tags. So it'll process them in universal tags, and it'll process them in universal tags, and it'll keep tagging, like it'll keep generating the tag file, so that your tags become available broadly, and then also inside the completion. So this plugin hasn't been updated in 2 years, and I don't know if it's necessary to find a substitute, but let's see. My goal today is still to get to AI set up and to Git set up. So let's see if that happens as well. But let's look for tags here. Auto-generate tags, files by C tags. There's gentags.lua, gentags, and Vim. I'm happy to switch to one of these. I should probably also just close all these other tabs. Okay, I'm happy to switch to one of these. This one seems to be updated. Universal tags, which I already have installed, and I also have this like blurb in the book saying, hey, install this, please. So we'll go ahead and take this. That is just regular code. And then this is my file. Paste it here. Nope. This is what I want. Save. Maybe here I can actually, just thinking here, just go here and just get into tmux. I can tmux here in this pane here, and I can actually just close up this pane because I do want my new changes to show up. I don't need this. Oh, I do need this, but that's fine. We'll open it up in the new, and I can quit this as well. So all of this goes away, and we exit, and now I'm on my new tmux window, my new pane. Let me just tmux again. Okay, cool. And then let's split. Let's do pnpm dev. So now I have my generation working on file change. Let's get in here and open the notes. So I have my notes here, or my markdown file. Let's open a new window and get into config. And Vim. A lot of setup work, but I think it's worth it to get like nice, just for this icon to change, actually. It's worth it. All right, where was I? Tags, GUID tags. For now, I'm actually just happy to install this and bring it here and replace GUID tags. Let's add a plugin to parse the tags. So I think this is fine, and this is just the new plugin that we're going to use now. And here are my instructions to install C tags. So now here's a new tag, C tags, and I do give some commands here. And so I think I should make it turn it into a table. So just add another to-do here. Show commands in a table, because I'm so used to seeing commands in a table in my notes that if I hide them in paragraphs, they become less visible, even just to me. Okay, let's get to AI. I was initially using copilot.vim, and I switched to copilot.lua. Excuse me. I switched to copilot.lua. There's something in my teeth that I needed to remove. And the motivation here is like, when this person started using copilot.vim, their laptop began to overheat. And I was like, yeah, I didn't have that great an experience. This was super early, by the way, in the life of Copilot.vim. It is something that's updated fairly regularly by the amazing Tim Pope and others. I have not gone back to this plugin. Didn't feel the need to in particular. I might at some later point in the future, but for now, I'll stick to this. I guess I'm just trying to look at if the documentation has changed in any serious manner. Does not seem like it's the case. I have a bunch of configurations here, although I will probably change some of these a little bit. Looking at this now. Let me copy this wholesale, make the changes, and then bring those changes back into the book. So we'll copy this wholesale, install. You do have to do a sign up as well. So it's taking some, it says done here. Okay, so it is done now. It took a bit of time to install. By default, it does not work on YAML files and Markdown files. In fact, there's a bunch of files that it doesn't work on by default. YAML, Markdown, help, git commit. I actually do want it in the git commit. So here's what I was talking about when I was making changes. And I think it'd be nice for me to get some autocomplete, some AI autocomplete in the git commit. Windows, although if this causes problems, I'll take it out. But for now, so enable true, auto trigger true, debounce. I think I just copied this and then modified some of it. So I'm using Control L to accept. To accept words. I started doing Control O. Oh, it's already working. And to accept line, Control F. Now I know Control O is a thing, but it's not in insert mode. So, or is it in insert mode? Yeah, not really. Or I don't use it in insert mode anyway. So Control F. So all these are essentially in insert mode. So it's not as big a deal because you're not using these in insert mode often. For previous, I was using Control H, but Control semicolon doesn't work for whatever reason in insert mode with this plugin. So Control H will become next suggestion. And then I'm trying to think what, like Control M, I think can become previous suggestion, which I feel like I'll rarely use anyway. Right, because typically I'll want to look at the next suggestion and not really go back, but H and M are close enough. So hopefully that should be good enough for me. And I guess now when I do this, it should add a comment here, Copilot setup. And then I can also press Control O to accept this word by word. So that's kind of nice. Let's take a look at what this looks like in a git commit. Now I did say I wanted to try, now that I'm here actually, I'll want to quit here and come back in here. So now I should have AI autocomplete in my Markdown file. So what if I did this? It's kind of completing it for me. Let's see if it does it. Yeah, it's picked it up. Yeah, it's picked it up. That's very convenient. I won't lie. I don't even know if that's a command or not. And now it's just repeating itself. So this kind of stuff is fairly useful. That AI, like this to-do is done. Now it's questionable whether I should be using, like for me, I don't want it to give me ideas. But if it can help me write a markdown table, I'm fairly satisfied with that. Okay. That's nice, actually. So this, I like how as I'm building out my Vim config, it's helping me write the book as well. I did say that I wanted to take a look at some other plugins on AI. So let me see if I can't quickly get a sense of what's out here. GP. So there is one plugin that I do use, and let me see if I can't find it. But let me see GPT models, GP, Flyboy. Okay, model, Neural, Llama, Gen, Copilot chat-like experience, complete with inline assistance, supports all of these. I have GitHub Copilot, which I use. I would like for these plugins to use Copilot. I'm going to open a bunch of these just so I can click through them to see what they offer. This is the plugin that I did end up installing. So if some of these other plugins aren't better, then I will end up installing this and adding it to the book as well. Comp AI, this NVim comp autocomplete. I don't need that really because I already get it from the Copilot. As if you are in Cursor AI. That's inviting, I will say. The thing I don't want to do is necessarily sign up for more AI services and then pay them. That does not seem exciting at all. So hoping not to do that. And so if these don't work with like GitHub's Copilot, although it's weird to search for GitHub here, Copilot, then I'm not sure that I want to use it. I don't think I want to use OpenAI directly. I do have an OpenAI API key. I'm not subscribed to them, but I do have a key, and so every so often, if I make any individual API requests, I think that will get charged on a per usage basis. But I don't know if I'm entirely sold on adding something that only does that. Let's take a look here. So I could say, copy this into the prompt, and then ask something of it. So I think the other plugin provides this for me. And my guess is all of these are fairly, okay, this is the same plugin. Is it? Oh yeah, it is, because I have to double close. GP. Now this GP plugin was mentioned elsewhere as a cool plugin. So here they're providing a prompt, and then it does it right there live. I mean, it seems exciting, but it doesn't, I don't know, it doesn't seem that thrilling, to be honest. It works with GitHub for Copilot, which is, I think, amazing. But I'm not sure if I'm sold on this interface that I'm seeing here. Let's see what this one does. Tell me future jokes. So I think it's opened up in a new tab. That's what it looks like, where you have a chat interface with this. So this other plugin that I was using provides something similar. So I don't actually see the reason for that just yet. So GitHub models are available here. Bring your own. So most of these are all the same. So it really depends on what interface I like. Let's take a quick look to see what this looks like. Well, this is a 1 minute video. Okay, fine. Code Companion opens up on the side. And we're saying, hey, in this buffer, I don't dislike that. Looks pretty nice. Oh. Is it going to go in the editor and fix it? Oh. Oh, wow. Okay, I'm I'm willing to try this based on what I see here. And then it has some other workflows being demonstrated. Let's give it a go. Getting started is within the docs. Okay, let's take a look. So this is the chat part, not the autocomplete part, right? Installation requires these to be installed. So ts install markdown and markdown inline, which I can do right now, right away. So they're already installed, it seems. Or no, one of them wasn't already installed, so that's fine. Markdown inline, probably. Okay. Is this all that's required? I feel like there's going to be some setup in the bottom. Supports extensions that add additional functionality to the plugin. I've not used any MCP stuff, although I've read a lot. I haven't read a lot. I've scrolled by a lot, but have not read any. To render the markdown in the chat buffer. Interesting. I'm happy to install a markdown plugin if necessary. When in the chat buffer, completion can be used. Out of the box, the plugin supports completion with both Neovim and Conf. For the latter, ensure you've added Code Companion as a source, so it works with Neovim comp when detected right off the bat. Maybe I won't install a render markdown plugin. Is this really all that it takes for the installation? Something tells me there'll be more. So let's quit, re-enter, get it installed. Let's quit and come back again just in case, and then Code Companion and say, please review my code. Can I say buffer? This is nice because once I said buffer, now the context is within that. Your configuration is already robust. Nothing like AI to boost your ego. I am definitely intrigued. Let's see. So I tend not to use the chat interface too often. So I can configure chat buffer. Let's see what other options it provides. Actions. What's actions? Chat, open chats. Custom prompt, code workflow, edit test workflow, generate a commit message. I don't dislike that. In fact, I like that. Interesting. Variables. Also interesting. Also interesting. The LLM will edit the code in a Neovim buffer. Okay, so first I'm going to back up this file. And let's go, wait, okay, yeah. Let's go back in here and let's see if I can't get, so if I do companion chat, buffer, suggest improvements. I wonder if this will look better if I install the Markdown plugin. So now it's done this. So can I say add editor, make these changes for me? And it seems like it has, and it's dropped me into this div. Diff. And oh, it said, hey, instead of doing a fold level for 99, why don't you just disable folds? Seems like you don't like folds. Get rid of them. It's taken this. It's a bit weird because this is my code and this is the changes. So I would have expected to see the reverse, but that's fine. Let's change the timeout here. It's broken something here. In true AI fashion, it's broken something in my code. And then what do I do here? What's the next step? I do not know. I also don't know which one is my file. Colon Q. This seems to be, I don't know if my changes were made. I don't know how to accept my changes. Let's see here. So the changes were made because I could see all these broken things. If I undo, yeah, they're gone. Okay. I'm definitely intrigued. I am definitely intrigued. But I feel like I'll need to, well, I'm happy to add it for now, actually. I mean, there's no reason why. Let's see if rendering this markdown business allows it to be any better. So I'll just pop this in the dependencies, actually. Because that's the only place that's being used. Okay, and now if I did something like companion chat buffer review code. Okay, yeah, it is a little bit better rendered. Although I would have been fine with just pure markdown rendering. I like it. You know, broadly overall, I do like it. Let me, for comparison purposes, since that's what we're trying to do here. By the way, the Codium is now renamed to Windsurf. Of course, when you get sold for billions of dollars, branding your Neovim plugin seems relevant. Do I need, for this plugin? I am curious, but I will have to sign up and all that. So maybe I'll skip it. But I am definitely curious to see like what billions and billions of dollars, whether that sort of trickles down into your Neovim plugin. It doesn't feel like it would. I think people would still focus on VS Code and other interfaces versus the Neovim stuff. But 3 weeks ago, so they took a break. This was the plugin that I do use on a day-to-day basis. That's actually not true. It's installed in my nvim config. I don't use it daily. And so here, this one hooks into GitHub Copilot chat by default. Let's actually do the exact same thing I did. Just taking a look to here to see what it's doing. And then maybe I can just actually go here. I do keep forgetting how to open in a vertical tab. I know that capital S is to open in split, but I do not want to open in split. I want to open in V-split. That's just S. So deceptive. Okay, so let's see if that doesn't work. It did. Fantastic. Here's my sort of daily config, which is going to change as a result of the things that I've done here. And here is the config. So nothing special happening here. So it seems like I could probably just copy paste the setup. In fact, it is exactly this. So I could just copy that, paste it here, remove that return, and then we will actually replace this with not all of those. It's a little eager, with just this. And now I would have expected something's up, right? Like, well, that's unfortunate. Can I undo? No, this help text is going to stay. That's unfortunate. Let me just actually do this. Yeah, it's until I saved it, the ghost text stayed, which is disappointing. But okay, for now, I'll just remove this, get rid of those comments. Save and come back. So now we have Copilot chat installing itself. Probably take a few seconds. Oh no, it's done. And let's go back to Startify. Oh no, I don't have Startify Alpha. Okay, that does work. It's nice to know. And here we are. And this looks like this. Co-chat. So there's a Copilot chat, for example. If I press enter, it opens this up, and I can say review my code. I don't know how to specify buffers and all that. Like, all that stuff is not heavily documented. So now it knew to look at the buffer. But it didn't actually review my code. So review the code again. I don't think it makes the changes for me, does it? Like, I'm trying to see whether there's any one of those similar. So when I push slash, it does sort of open up this option, this pop-up menu. It's not clear to me that make the changes for me. So here it's suggesting the changes. I don't think it has the ability to actually end up making the changes. It has these commands available. Seems like they got rid of a bunch of commands. No, they have them. Reset, tests, fix. And all this is like, please generate tests for my code. So it's just prompts, pre-prompted prompts. And then some shortcuts, key mappings that are bound to this. You know what? I'm actually happy to try. Was it GP? Which one was it? It was Code Companion, which seems very intense. Like, though it's very fluidly designed. Who's doing this? Ollie Morris? Who are you, Ollie? Sure you are. And this is how you make money? And I can see like it's like, okay, all things both personally and professionally. Yeah. Because it seems like this person is definitely invested in that agentic world to bring that functionality in here. So I'm okay to throw my support, I guess, behind this, spend a little bit of time learning the nuances of this plugin. And they do thank Copilot Chat, where they probably read some of the code on how to manage that side window. Okay, well, let's do it. So I'm okay with, at present, not having this. I will eventually, like, I'm going to leave it like this here for now, but I will eventually modify that so that it looks a bit different. So, okay, let's actually change this so that I have the actual config here. Got it replaced, added git commit there. And then as a result of that, I'll want to change this. And I'm wondering whether I can do something like this here. Companion. Oh, I really would have thought that companion would have been available in this mode, like in a visual mode. But it isn't? I'm definitely surprised by that. Copying code from a chat buffer, GY. Automatically update a buffer. The editor tool combined with buffer variable will edit it. Run tests from the chat buffer. Navigate between. Why can't I have it? And for, I guess, arguments purposes, let's bring this back. Oh, no, I guess I just never, I don't know how I feel about this live markdown. I don't like that. Not a huge fan. Also, this table. I guess it's nicely formatted here, but that kind of variation I find annoying. But okay, fine. Let's do companion. Yeah, that's what I thought. It just didn't restart. And I can say here, fix the mappings. And it looks like it is. It looks like it's made those changes already. Let's review. So just use my texture and just literally just fixed this, which are wrong. It hasn't fixed anything. So I just laugh every time AI makes a mistake. Pretty sure I use Control H and Control M for next and previous suggestion. And then additionally, I have Control O and Control F for line and word. It's just, it is frustrating. So now this is my buffer. Just made some changes, but they're wrong. So what if I highlight all of this and this just to give it a clue, right? Like, will it know? No, seems like it failed. Let's try again, fix the mappings based on the buffer, not just your feelings. So now it did H&M, but it did not add the additional mappings. Interesting. Interesting and disappointing. So this is very distracting, this markdown business. We'll just deal with it for now. And then Control O and Control F, that's what I want. So let's just see if that doesn't get added. It will not get added. Yep, that works. Control F. Okay. I can say here, use the panel feature of copilot.lua. There are other plugins that provide better AI chat functionality. Let's install code companion. And then here I'll open up my init.lua, we'll pull in. It seems like it leaves. This is very frustrating. It just leaves the suggested text there. Now it's gone. I had to wrangle it out of there. Very frustrating, very annoying. Okay, so yeah, let's get rid of this. Let's copy this. And let me bring it in. the way I have it here. So let me just copy this and bring this in here. Okay, that's just unusable. I'm sorry, but I can't have this happen over and over. Let me take a look to see whether I have anything uniquely set up in my setup here versus here. Enable, no, I actually copied this over. So let me see if there isn't anything in, like I said, I'm not using Copilot.vim because it had all these issues. And then we use this and it has issues right off the get-go. Very frustrating, very annoying. Default config. Enabled auto trigger false. Maybe that's what I need to prevent this annoying issue from happening. Let's quit, let's come back. Let's see. This is all correct. So then I can come back in here and let's find my init.lua. Let's get that code companion block in here again. Do not love the auto markdown stuff. It looks nice somewhat, but it also looks, I don't know, scrolling through this kind of stuff feels weird. Like there's an extra line there. I wish they had a way of actually, yeah, it's just weird navigation, which I find annoying. The rest of it is like, it's okay. I do like this kind of separation. Okay, let's add some notes here. You can trigger the chat. I like how, oops, I like how now I actually don't have any with the code companion command. We'll leave it like this for now because I do want to come back and learn the plugin a bit more, and then I'll document it as well. I think that's it for AI for now, unless I end up doing windsurf at a later point, signing up for it, getting a sense of what it provides. Let's continue then on to, this might not have worked because it's not auto trigger. So how do I trigger it if I want it? Trigger on accept. Oh, interesting. So I would have to do something like come down here and do this and press a button that will trigger some generation. I'm not against it. It still doesn't work. Oh, I see. Let's see if I can't figure out why. Because I'm pressing Control C and not escape, and I think that's leaving it kind of in a mid position. So I feel like I can probably auto trigger it. This is good because like I'm just figuring out the nuances of things as I experience them. We'll get into Git in a second. I'm an hour in. I think I could spend maybe another half an hour just setting up Git. So now when I do this, I do this. I get my suggestion in a second or two. Yes, I'll take a couple seconds. No, suggestion, please. Yeah, there we go. If I press Control C now, I expect it to properly disappear. That's because I was using Control C and not another mapping. Now I map my Control C to exact, and now it works. Okay. Good to know. And I think I can return to auto trigger true here and do the same thing here. Okay. And now we're back here to the book, and now let's continue. On that note, let me just add myself a to-do expand on Code Companion. All right, Git it is. Let's use a couple of plugins to give us Git gains. Very funny. There's a bunch of features here. I believe I use a lot of them. Let's see. It says here's a suggested example. This is a lot. Okay. This is a lot. So let me see. Yeah, it's kind of doing this mapping business. And then this, which is that what I have here as well? It's a bit different. So this map function is a bit different than the one I have over here. So let me bring this in and see what this is doing. So require get signs is up here. What it does is it does a get signs on its own. I wonder if it's using that over and over. It's in its own unattached. So this unattached belongs to get signs itself. I'm actually okay to just copy whatever we have in here and then alter it based on need. And I'll go ahead and do it here. We won't worry about it too much. What I will do is align this stuff though. Don't know where that happened. So let's get this back. No. I did a VII here. I thought it would only be this bit. Okay, so now it's aligned, and maybe I can split screen and edit appropriately because this is what I have currently, and this is what it's suggesting. So require this. It got rid of this. So I do want the updated functionality. Let me just add a comment here to show myself where it's starting. I'm just trying to see if I'm not looking at the same code. I'm not, because this is local GS. And then this is the map thing. And so there are some changes from here to here. We can see, right? They use a schedule here, return ignore. That's not what's happening in the new section. So what I'll do is, I guess I'll just start getting rid of little bits here. And then actions leader. So I do use these a lot, like a lot. I use this and this a lot as well. Staging hunks, resetting hunks. Yep, this as well. Looks good to me. Bring this in, leader HR. Yep, HR. I don't really do this. Stage buffer or reset buffer much. HP I do use. HI I don't really use. But because there's so many to remember all the time, you forget. HB also I have not been using. HD, what does it do? Diff this. I don't really use it. I'm going to keep these, even though I don't use a whole bunch. And that's because I think it'll give me some ideas of using them eventually. And I think that in itself is worth it. I think this copy went wrong somewhere. Because I have this end and I don't know what this end maps to. That's its own line. This, yeah. It doesn't map to anything. I just happened to copy some extra lines here. So this can go away. And this end, I believe, is like this. So now it's fine. And then I can actually just get rid of this whole bit here. And hopefully this works on the first try. Let's see. So essentially what I ended up doing was, and all of these I have described here, by the way, from before. So here, yeah, let's just go ahead and copy this and bring this in. It is a big chunk. And I think when I do the video, if I ever get there, I might actually do this one by one, bit by bit. Already there's an issue. So we will have to fix it. There is a comma, or there is something missing. Just because of the way I happen to have done this. I think I might even need an extra one here like this. That's setup. This is end. Yeah, the whole formatting got messed up. And now it does seem correct. I just deleted everything in there just to see. And now when I take this and bring it back, it should work. Paste, format. That seemed to work. Quit, enter. It's installing git signs. And now when I go back into my init.lua, I should be seeing those git signs on the side here. If I do leader HP, for example, I'm seeing the diffs. Previews. What else is here? Leader HP. There's a whole lot here. Leader HI. What is leader HI? Oh, view inline. Not sure how I feel about that. Leader HB. Yeah, okay. Leader HB shows me just for this line. Leader TB I really like, actually. Like that not committed yet that pops up at the end of the line. I like that quite a bit. It needs to be toggled. There's probably some setting to keep it on all the time as well. Pretty cool. I will probably end up redocumenting this. So because there's some extra commands I feel here that I need to document. Really, I want to use this time here on the stream to copy, paste, and do all that kind of grunt work. Make sure everything's still working, update it. Rebuild the table from the mappings above. Okay. Null ls. is gone. Not even there. So get sounds provide code actions based on code changes. This will just have to go away. We're not using it. It's gone. And now we have one of my all-time favorite plugins, Vim Fugitive. Still being updated fairly often and regularly. Bunch of screencasts here. I will probably need to do a deep dive at some point in all the features that it has. It has so many. And I use maybe like a fraction. But let's go ahead and install that fraction. And it's so good. Like, it's so good. Okay, all set up here. I have these shortcuts, which I believe I've documented. I have. Oh my God, some of them are so good. Open a Git status window at the bottom of the screen. So leader.js is the one I use, and it'll give me a Git status. When I'm here, I can press DD in order to do a diff. Now, I don't like this diff. Yeah, I have all this documented here. And I don't like this diff. The moment I set it is because it's up and down. I like my diffs side by side. And this is what I would do in order to fix that. Look, I have it right here. I like my diff windows to be vertical. It's just funny how I kind of jumped there right away. Let's just get back in here and equal always. So here, I don't know why that says equal always. This here should say this line. So equal always, probably because this was done a while after. So let's paste this here. I do want that little gap there to exist. Perfect. Let's copy this line, XRC. And again, this is the exact kind of XRC, exact kind of, let's just add a comment as well, like the ensure diffs are displayed vertically. Copy this block, bring that back into the book. And so here I'll just have to add a plus. And there we go. Okay, let's get out of here. Let's get back in. And let's do a DD on this gem file, and there I added rake. On the side here, you can see it's kind of loading up Solar Graph. Git ignore file. Added these. Haven't committed. This is my init.lua, by the way, which is, not that different, I suppose, but definitely somewhat different. And so I love this sort of setup that this provides me. I can push to Git from here. I can state changes. If I press dash here, that gets staged. I can press dash to unstage it. The only thing I don't believe it does in the way that I would have liked is stashes. But everything else it does really well. The other plugin I will install, and we'll call it a night after this one. Let's just take a look to see. So it's been updated fairly regularly, which is nice. I'll probably need to relook at some of the features as they may have changed. I'm looking here. Whoops. Yeah, let's get this back to where we're supposed to be. That will take forever to load, so I'm just going to exit and come back in here. And then this is the book. And what am I suggesting here? These options with this. I'm actually okay to copy this for now and then install it, and then we can move on for now. So here, advanced Git search, and it can be triggered using this. I don't use this often, but when I do it, it's such a lifesaver, just based on how it works. So here's how I trigger it. No, not that way. Just copy this. Here's how I would trigger it. And I can search in the repo log content. I can search in the file log content. So what this means is like it's searching the logs and the diffs amongst the logs. So if I wanted to search for something like 10 split, note that it searched the diff and got me the commit. Because sometimes when fixing bugs, there might be a reference in the code to code that doesn't exist. And that's because it's code that's been removed in another file. And you can't just search for it in the code because it's not in the code. It's in the Git history. And this allows you to do a search in Telescope of your Git history. So I rarely use it, but when I need to use it, it is intensely useful. What I do need to do, having that said, this is the Telescope setup. And then I believe I've made some of my own setups here of like, hey, use Fugitive for the diff, and turned off the built-in Git picks. I do not remember why I did that. So that will be something worth taking a look at later. And so this is a plugin I do need to investigate more in the future. Yeah, so I do have a write-up here of like, hey, it's really handy when you need it. It's just I feel like the words don't do it justice to like a demo, which is why I want to get all this converted into a video. Okay, what I have remaining now is Toggle, the terminal, and then some other miscellaneous plugins, which are really important. TreeSJ is like amazing. But I also want to spend some time later looking at just additional plugins that have emerged in the Neovim world since the last time. So like, do a scan of Neovim Awesome in multiple sections. I'll probably do it offline. And then maybe play around with some of the plugins on stream. But I'm happy with where we've landed thus far, which is I got Git done. It's like we're pretty much done what I have, and then I have to go ahead and like cover some other details. There's some other to-dos in the book that I need to update. Do some research on what additional plugins I need to be aware of. But this is really the general content that I do want. And then maybe I'll do a live stream where I'm building the config from scratch to the end, bit by bit, and explaining explaining things in a bit more detail. There are places where I've done copy paste wholesale, and instead of doing that, what I actually want to do is type everything out or copy paste only certain bits, so I can explain every key mapping and all the details and demonstrate everything as we go. So that's my intention, is really to build up some kind of a Neovim course that takes you from zero Vim to, being not bad at Vim. Okay, that's it for today. I think I covered pretty much what I wanted.